ladies and gentlemen. I decided to yap a little more tonight, but this could be used as an educational tool. Most guitarists, people that try to be guitarists, one thing I will say before I go any further is, I don't know if I'm a guitarist or not, but I am an oboist, and I'm a professional oboist, and I'll put my playing skills up against any, not only human, but anything that can think, which is more than most humans. And while the Hobarth British oboe makers that I saw a film of recently look very impressive, and they ask a very exorbitant amount, $14,000 for an oboe. To give you a perspective, in 1975, when we ordered a Luray for me and I had decided to go back into it, and my father supported the decision, we spent for a brand new Luray Standard, which is all they made in Paris at that time. They didn't make these Royals and all these. The French have learned how to basically go American and put doodads on their instruments just like guitar makers do to make their stuff sell. It's all about money and selling. It used to be, I feel, again that's my feel, it used to be about quality. That Luray that I had, it was stolen from me in 1983. Some African Americans stole my horns out of my car. But those horns, today I don't know, I haven't played a horn in a number of years. Those horns were like Strat violins or Guarneri. You know, they were well made. They weren't a popular instrument, so you only had to pay about $1,200–1,300 for a new one. You had to wait. It had to be made in Paris and then shipped to the States, and you would usually pick it up from someone that you might know, or in our case, our conductor, Chanot, knew some people up in the Northeast, and he did it as a favor to my dad. He liked my father. So it all worked out nicely for me at that time. But again, today, we have more population, we have more people in Western countries, England, the US, France, Europe, all of this. The earth is inundated with human beings, and animals are being squeezed out, and on and on and on, and I'm off topic. All right. In my last film, I mentioned purchasing out of need. I broke a wire in my original Matrix. It's an inexpensive tuning device. It's made, I'm told, I have not gone to the Matrix factory and called them on the phone or had information sent to me because I'm a lazy bum. But I have a general understanding of Matrix, which is they use crystal in the same way that watches today, wristwatches often were or are using crystal to keep time rather than batteries. It might interest some of you to know this, since I'm a know-it-all and a big mouth. Edgar Casey, the famous psychic out of Kentucky, in his readings on ancient Atlantis, and this assumes, of course, that you are liberal enough or gullible enough, or both, to open your mind to the possibility that the Atlantean and the Atlantean culture that Plato describes was real. That's first thing. Secondly, according to Casey's in-trance vocalizations, which his son took down everything to pen and recorded so there were no mistakes. And he published a book of everything his father said about Atlantis. And why do I bring that up? Because Atlantis used as a source of power for its weaponry and its comforts, creature comforts, crystal. That's different from what we do today as far as I know. But watches in the last 20 years or so, 30 years or so, use crystal now, and these tuning devices use crystal. This Matrix system is an inexpensive, probably made in Korea or China, but the original Matrix tuners, like the one I bought in 1985-86, I paid $20 to $30 for it, new. I still have it. I'm not a very big fellow. I'm tall, but I'm not very, my hands are tiny. I could have been a baby doctor in the 50s. I have tiny hands, delicate fingers, and I'm careful. When I was a boy, I broke everything I got. I never have heard so much bitching and threats and ugly statements come my way as I did from my mother about my behavior with toys. So I learned how to take care of things by asking my dad questions, and I took care of this Matrix tuner, which I bought in '85, and I just used it tonight. It still works. And that roundabout rambling discourse that I just put on film, which is probably the biggest load of babble that's ever been spewed to a film camera. The Atlanteans used crystal for their weapon systems, and apparently, according to Casey, they had laser-like beams and stuff that they could use against one another. There was a group in those days, according to him, they called themselves the Sons of Belial. They abused genetic engineering. For example, they would create what Casey would call monsters. They could crossbreed humans with apes, or create animals that were warrior-like, goblin-like creatures. If you can, it sounds unbelievable. It does. But you have to understand that if you open the door, so to speak, if you attain the knowledge and control, and most importantly, the comprehension or understanding of how genetics works, you can eliminate, if you are a good creature, a good whatever we are, a good 72 genetic alterations creature that the aliens tell our government they've altered us 72 times genetically. They're genetic scientists, and they're good at it, apparently. We, our species, the church especially, the Vatican, adamantly opposed to us having access to that kind of knowledge. The Sons of Belial. These texts might actually exist in the Vatican libraries. If they do, we'll never find out. But Casey is something that perhaps, just possibly, was the real deal. And he said that the Atlanteans used crystal, and now in the last 20 or 30, 40 years or so, we're using it. I say good to this, and I like them. I'm influenced by the book I had read by that time. By 85, I had read Atlantis and Edgar Casey's son and what they had to say about it. It's the most disturbing thing I've ever read, and what human beings are willing to do to one another. The alien greys, who are genetic specialists, as I just said, as well as the tall whites and whatever, there's no telling how many creatures out there that we don't know about actually exist and are colluding with our legal authorities. I have another word for what they are, but anyway, maybe they're helping us, who knows? You really don't know. What you do know is this. The aliens in these interview films, I've posted some of these on my Facebook. They say that they have eliminated all viruses. They have no disease. They have no cancer, no mental illness. They don't have children born with multiple sclerosis. Cancer cells are a mutation. A cell is shaped basically like a spherical ball. If you ever played dodgeball in school as a boy, these rubber balls,